Well, we have a crate engine. Came with everything on it, surprisingly. Mine has a plastic housing as compared to this metal one, but it has the manifold, which I gotta take off because mine isn't cut here. Take the heater hose lines off. It's got some decent looking plug wires on it. And put a new water pump on it. Put the tensioner off my car on it. And a couple other little things, but it even has a fuel rail, which I just disconnected mine, so we'll just slap that on later. Just a couple sensors down, new intake, and exhaust gaskets, oil pan gasket, and we'll be good to go. Oh, there's the Mini Cooper engine on the stand. Need to get the manifold off, that manifold off. Notice the valve cover gasket is leaking, so that's got to get changed. And we're also going to do the oil pan gasket tonight and get the rest of the sensors out of here. So hopefully tomorrow I can come and do the valve cover gasket. Well, that can be done in the car, honestly. But I want to get the clutch, flywheel, and the rear main seal done tomorrow. Get it bolted to that transmission so that we can get this in the car. All right, well, we got the oil pan off over there. The engine looks clean, so I'm going to take and clean the oil pan out before I put it back on the car. Gonna need to replace this gasket here because it was leaking. The oil pickup tube looks clean, doesn't look like there's any metal pieces in there. That's gonna do it for about tonight, unfortunately, because I are missing parts. I might pull the harmonic balancer off for mine to go on because this one doesn't look very good. Do some cleaning on the timing cover before I leave, and tomorrow I'll come back to put the oil pan gasket on, and I might pull the valve cover gasket today just to get, or the valve cover off, just get that cleaned up, because gotta put new gaskets in. All right, it's the next day. After stuffing my face with some pizza, I'm back at Tony's to work on the MEEP engine. I got a timing cover gasket set for it because it's really wet, leaking possibly. So I figured I'd take care of that. I've gathered that these are the indents for the oil pump, so hopefully I don't screw that up getting that off. So yeah, I'm gonna take this cover off of here and change that gasket because it is leaking pretty bad down here. Got a new gasket for the crank. We also got a valve cover gasket because we found out that was leaking last night. I got a new thermostat and some brake cleaner. And I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some parts, but at least this gets us closer to getting the engine hooked up to the clutch and the flywheel and clutch this weekend and back in the car, because I would like to have this at least sitting in the car this weekend so that it's out of Tony's garage, you know. But yeah, I am going to see what is involved with taking the timing cover off real quick, because I'd like to have that off if I can see what I'm doing, that is. So I'll pick you up here in a minute. Tony's charging his air conditioning on the Chevelle. Or checking the level at least. So I got this off. Timing chain is nice and tight, so that's good. Oil pump looks fine. And timing marks are lined up, so that's good. I replace this gasket, this one here, this guy here, and the one that goes in the cover. Someone might have been in here before because there's white silicone. Because normally the factory uses black, but I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know. But we'll get this off, or cleaned up the rest of the way, and stick the new one on there. Bolt the cover on, bolt the oil pan on, we'll rotate the motor, and we'll do the valve cover next. All right, we got the timing cover back on. It may look like I didn't clean it, but I did clean it. Everything is nice and fresh. Got the new gasket in there on the crank. Got the block cleaned up here for the oil pan gasket to go in. Oil pan is nicely cleaned up. I got this all, I'm just gonna go over it real quick with the brake cleaner just to get any kind of residue off from the soap I used to clean it. Throw the gasket in or on the block there, put that on, Loctite the bolts, bolt it down. We'll rotate the engine and do that valve cover. gasket thing. All right, oil pan reinstalled, got all the bolts torqued down. I don't know the torque specs, so I just got them snugged with the impact there.
The German car, German torque spec.
Yeah, it's Guten tight, so yeah, German torque spec, Guten tight, and then I got them down, I'm gonna say anywhere around 50 inch-pounds or 25 foot-pounds, I don't know, but they're tight. We'll see if it leaks. Then Tony will laugh at me when it leaks like a sieve, and then I'll have to get it all torn apart again. Well, I'm gonna rotate the engine. We'll do the valve cover now. Well, it seems like it's just my luck. The last bolt is stripped, so I had to hammer the socket on. Hope Tony doesn't mind. This can be a permanent fixture of the car from now on. But hopefully the valve cover comes off. Well, we're gonna put a pry bar under that in a second. Loose, 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 loose. All right, so this would be a good place to pry. There we go. So we can do this one-handed now. There we go. Valve cover off. Yeah, it's one of those guys there that's leaking around 2 center cylinders. At the top of the engine looks okay and doesn't smell like burnt. It's actually pretty clean. Surprised. So get this cleaned up and stick the gasket down and bolt this thing back down. Well, just my luck. I went to pull the valve cover gasket out of the package, and lo and behold, it is missing the 4 O-rings for the coils, or spark plugs that go through the cover that were leaking in the first place when I bought the valve cover gaskets. So I gotta call the auto parts store, which closed at 6 p.m. in the morning, to get the gaskets that I need so that I can hopefully get the valve cover done this week so I can get the engine back in the car this weekend when I have some free time on Saturday morning. This is taking forever just to get the engine ready to go in the car. And I'm still waiting on a water pump and an AC bypass pulley. So one of these days it'll be in the car. Man, would have been more ahead just to not rebuild the car, but I like it so much, and we promised to get it down to No Name Nationals here in September in Missouri. So guess I just got to keep plugging away one day and one piece at a time. Or soon. Well, it's a few days later. We're back at Tony's. It's bright and early. Well, it's not super hot out. Had to wait for these stupid O-rings to come in. It took 2 days to get them because it's supposed to come with the Felpro kit, and they didn't, even though they show them online. So we'll get this changed out, get the engine off the stand. We'll get the rear main seal swapped out, bolt the clutch and flywheel to it, to the transmission over there. Tony, what's a NM? The torque spec. I need 90 NMs, yes.
We'll convert it.
Okay, we need to convert that for the flywheel bolts.
Okay.
Figure that out. Let's have some fun. All right, so got the engine here. I was gonna change the rear main seal, but famous last words, it's not leaking now, so I'm not going to do it later. Or I mean, I'll do it later when it starts leaking, but currently it's good. Gonna go grab the clutch, figure out Newton meters to foot-pounds conversion, and get the flywheel bolts in, get the clutch lined up, get a new throwout bearing on the transmission, and bolt it in there, and wheel her in here. Cause, yeah, I'm ready to get this engine back in the car. All right, well, good news is we got the clutch and flywheel on. The alignment tool slides in and out nicely. I just got to put the new pilot bearing in the transmission, and we can bolt this onto here and get the starter bolted to it while it's out of the car, since we'll have some more room, since it's the backside of the engine and it's buried in the firewall. Once we're done with that, we can pull it inside and set it in there. Sweet. All right, so I'm gonna change the throwout bearing on the transmission. This one Definitely has seen better days, but I think I'm gonna spray the inside of this out with brake parts cleaner, get some of this dirt and other garbage out of here that collected during my off-road excursion. And we'll throw a new throw-out bearing in there and get this thing bolted onto the engine. Well, we're at the parts store. We need an NPT fitting so we can adapt aftermarket gauges to the Mini so we don't kill the engine again. Tony was nice enough to drive the Chevelle because the van was full of shit. All right, well, that's going to do it for today. Unfortunately, we did not get as far as we wanted to, chasing down an issue, getting the transmission lined up and bolts that were mismatched thanks to my organization skills. Ran to the hardware store, got a straight fitting and a T so we can run the factory oil pressure sender over here. And we'll put the aftermarket gauge in here. Right there is our aftermarket temp sensor we're going to be running, and then we have a voltmeter, which we really don't care about that too much, but I would like to keep an eye on the oil pressure and at least the engine temp as well. So hopefully in a couple days I'll be back and we shall get the engine in the car, and then I can start connecting everything. Well, it's taken over a year, but the shoe is finally falling off. Look at that. There's threads holding that guy on. So we're gonna take it off since I don't want to lose it. We'll go hang it in the shed next to the other parts. In case you're wondering, the shoe tree donated this shoe in southern Indiana to the MEEP. All right, MEEP is power washed back in Tony's garage. Engine is right there with the new oil pressure sensor there. I gotta delete all the air conditioning garbage that's over there somewhere in that mess of wires and connections. Get all that crap out of my way, and then I can put the engine and transmission back in tonight and get the motor mounts hooked up, and then come back tomorrow and plug stuff in. Because Tony wants this out of his garage, or at least out of his yard. I'm lowering his property values terribly bad. Well, good news, I went to put the passenger side lower mount in and it's broken. And if you can see that, split there and it's split there. Temporarily it's gonna go in so the car can, come down on the lift tonight on the floor, but gonna have to replace that. Good job, me. Screwing stuff up again, like usual. But at least the engine is held in, mostly. Well, for those of you that were wondering what the bottom of the MEEP looks like, that's
hot garbage. It looks like hot garbage.
Tony would say it's hot garbage, which it kind of is, because look at all that dirt under there. And the hanging exhaust. We got a lot of work to do. Tony, where's your power washer?
I'm not letting you power wash that on my floor.
Well, come on. I thought we were friends.
Not that good of friends.
Not that good of friends. Jeez. The people. Good thing I'm not paying for this. Actually, I am. I'm gonna die. Well, that's it for this video. We've got the engine in the car. Next video, we try to remember where all these wires go to, because I'm not very smart and I disconnected everything, thinking I'd remember where it went. And you think I'd remember where everything went? Not a chance in heck. Huh. Does that plug go into there? Nope. Well, we'll figure that one out later together. Thanks for watching.